your information, going to jail, getting a business, owning a car. All this comes up. Even how many of y'all get hard score credits and all this and that? It's still under whoever you are. All this stuff is under you. So no man will be able to buy or sell unless they get the name or the number first. Everybody, now that's prophecy, whether we want to look at prophecy in the New Testament or not, it's said, it's done, we see it, we know it, and we can accept it because it's here and we understand it, if you want to. Look at me. So that's if we want to, right? With this situation, now we're at the point of time of being under the system. By being under the system, being slaves to the system, by being slaves to, oh yeah, that's loud, that's cool. Oh, that's good. That's a little bit better. Yeah, he knew what he's doing. He knew what he's doing. That's a little bit better. Yeah, hey, thank you. Thank you, little man. Thank you, little man. I appreciate you. I hear myself a little better now. Man, that was nice. I felt like my ear said, cling. With this situation, we understand that since 18, and I love the way Shelly, we're going to play Shelly in a few moments, and then my baby going to come up. She's going to give me information in the indexing. But Shelly, she's going to explain to you, and you're going to hear it in there, since 1871, United States has been a corporation. And everybody has a birth certificate and a social security card is a part of the corporation. That's why as soon as I got indexed, it was like I was anointed. I ain't gonna say it, but it was like I was anointed again. I'm gonna say it like that. It's like I was anointed again after I got indexed in 2016. Because as soon as I got home back to Detroit, when I had moved back home at the time, it was like even before then, because I was explaining it to people before I came back. I was explaining to people at the airport. I did You Are a Product on Facebook. And when I was sharing is that, you can, the same thing I'm sharing right now, you might as well say, I don't have to go back over it. I did You Are a Product on Facebook. So it's just like it hit me. And a lot of people that have been getting indexed has been changing for the better. And I say that this is like an anointing. Because it takes us from one level of life, it's taking us from the satanic level of life where we didn't believe or didn't know that we were living, and it puts us into the creative system, which is in the book of life. Because as we get indexed, we are becoming in a whole different status. And the reason I can say this is because Dr. Henderson, he's the one who's been fighting the system because he had, 2,000 acre land, was it, baby? About 200, 2,000. Yeah, he had a lot of land that him and his family had, and it's all going to be in the information that we're going to play. But Dr. I.L. Henderson, the ad hoc judge, he is the one that the Father used. I always got to make sure that it's understood, because I got to make sure, I'm going to let y'all know how I am. I don't worship anything. And I mean no physical thing. In heaven above, earth beneath, or waters under the earth. And what I was going to share with y'all earlier is an elder that we went to go see in Mississippi. When me and my brother, Steve, been in Israel, sat down with him the first day I got there, the elder said, God is nothing. God is nothing. He ain't nothing. And it was the way he said it that my brother, Steve, been in Israel, he was like, what are you talking about? And I'm an observer, I listen. I said, so what you mean? God is nothing. All this stuff right here, that ain't God. God is nothing, I said, well, what you mean? He said, well, and then when he said, I said, I understand what you're saying, because I heard this from a sister in Atlanta when I was staying there. She said the same thing. But then when Stephen started asking me about it, I said, well, if you look at the word nothing, how do you spell it? No thing. Nothinng. What is air? Nothing. It has no similitude. It has no figure. That's what the Father said in Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 15 through 19, but the key is the end of the 16. He said, when I spoke to you in Horeb, you saw no similitude or any figure when I spoke to you out of Horeb. He said, so he told us, don't worship anything. Because, and then first he said male, female, then he named all the animals, and then he even said the stars and the planets in heaven. Don't worship anything. So me, myself, I as an individual, I recognize these things just like we use ABCs, 1, 2, 3. We use these for our purpose. The purpose is to use them for the build, break down, to add, whatever. It's these things for. When we understand the signs in heaven, I know I'm just speaking about, I feel like this has to come out, so I hope y'all understand where I'm going, what I'm sharing this information. So by using these things for tools, these are tools that's the reason why the Father said that ye are a wise and understanding people. See, if you understand why you use these different elements and things in the earth, this right here is an organized energy conductor. I use this when I make my water. When I make my alkaline water, I'm using stones, crystals, or organized energy conductor. I play soothing music. I put my passion, my love into it as I'm making it. And the water, everybody can tell the difference in the energy of the water that I make compared to a lot of other ones out there, not putting nobody down or anything. They can see and feel the energy in my waters and my teas. So I'm just using that as an example. So using these for your purpose as a tool and not bowing down, worshiping these things is a difference, because who do y'all know that worship air? I don't know nobody that worship air. Everybody's always trying to worship something, but when I pray to the Father of the universe that created all things. So that's my understanding, and to share with you on that point right there, just to put it out there, and where we at right now in the indexing, because by him using Dr. Henderson to go through all the stuff he went through for the last 30 plus years, to bring us right at this point after the 400 years, which is prophecy. After the 400 years, he said, then I'm going to judge that nation. I'm still showing y'all as we go. So I'm going to judge that nation. That nation is not United States, China, Austria. No, he's not judging the nation like that. He's judging the whole thing. The whole world is of what? The Roman Empire. The Roman Empire under what? Maritime Admiralty law, the law of the seas. We're going back to the laws of the land with this information. Everybody's going to be their own parent. We ain't got to go everybody going through the system for them to be our parents to give us an allowance, if you understand what I'm saying. You got to go to their jobs to get paid to do what you need to do for yourself. Just like a parent or an adopted parent that has your birthrights when your mother sold you over to them at birth. She had the adopted parents have your birthright, and they're giving you an allowance for every day. Every day you sweep your room, wash the dishes, make your bed, clean the house. So at the end of the week, your parents give you like a little allowance. We have grown up to men and women and still going to the system as our parents to ask for an allowance, because we got to go to work to pay our bills, get a car, go on a trip, and a little bit of money. They're holding up. How did I say it? Because I don't want to. I have to say quadruple and all this, but our heritage. Our, what is it that you get, huh? Inheritance. That's it. Inheritance. That's what I was looking for. The inheritance that's owed to us, they're holding, and it matures at your death. So when you're born with an inheritance, and at your death, it matures. Now, I'm telling you the same thing Shirley is going to tell you, but the fact is, all between that, they're giving you bits and pieces of what's already owed to you.
It's already yours.
You see what I'm saying? They're giving you bits and pieces when they're already holding the stack. So now it's time to get our stack.
Yeah.
That's where we at right now. That's what indexing is bringing us back to us having our stack. And without doing a lot of, okay, I got, the police stop you. I've been stopped, like I tell anybody, I've been stopped about 15 times. And every time they come back to give my ID, I've only gotten 5 tickets in the 15, 4 to 5 tickets in that 15 times. And in those tickets, the only reason I got a ticket is because the ID is still connected to their system. They can give me a ticket, and they can suspend my license. They can revoke my license. But I'm on the do not detain list. They can't touch me. I am a free bond. What is the word I'm looking for? We just said it earlier. Come on, y'all, help me out. I got this right there. There you go. We have diplomatic. I don't know, some of the stuff that's why we need each other, because it's right here, but sometimes stuff be coming so fast. But we have diplomatic immunity. That means we on the do not detain list. We can't be touched unless you break the real law, the laws of the Father that was given to Moses which is given to Israel to keep. And I'm going to tell you my point of view. I'm not going to try this. My understanding is the reason why the Father scattered us throughout the earth, because he said, I'm going to do a marvelous work with you. That no one, well, you'll see it because it's in Exodus chapter 34, verse 10. And it's also in Isaiah 29, verse 14. But the key to the 14 is the 9th verse until you get to the 14th verse. Isaiah 29, 9 through 14. But those 9 through 13 is going to knock your socks off, because that's what has happened to a lot of people. You know, that's happened to a lot of people. But when you see it, you can see it for yourself and understand it totally. So mainly, this is where we at. Dr. Henderson has brought us a long way, and Shelley Bowling has been his sidekick, bringing us a long way. And I look at it like this. A lot of people going to believe it, a lot of people not. A lot of people going to accept it, because that's what I told the Father when I went through my spiritual awakening when I was in Europe. If you brought me to the truth, I'll put the truth in songs and writing and give it to the world. It's up to the world to accept it or reject it. And I know the Spirit came out of me when I said that, because I was serious about what I said, but that part just jumped out, and I'm glad it did, because that's what I'm doing. I made that promise, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So I know who I am by what I'm doing, and I understand things as I grow, because I don't think I know everything. But my ears are always open for knowledge from my Akashi records. Always. So right now, I believe I shared information about the kingdom, information about indexing, and also the birth certificate and social security card is a part of the New World Order. Should I say the New World Order? Because the New World Order started, or should I say the World Order started when Greek and Rome came into place. But the New World Order started when we started the birth certificate and the social security card. Now, they're in the point in time, in that same time. See, we got to look at how much all this worked together. Because when it says that, and the mark, now if y'all look at Revelations, after Revelation 13, it don't speak no more about the name and the number. It only speaks about those that have received the mark will receive these plagues. Am I right or wrong? Those that have received the mark will receive. Now let me ask y'all a question for y'all who are knowledgeable, which I know everybody out here is. Because if you wasn't, you probably wouldn't be sitting here. Anybody who ever received the mark, some was for good. I'm not saying some for good for receiving the mark. Some was for, I ain't gonna say, let me just say it like this. Some nothing happened to. Y'all seen a lot of people, they start shaking. Some couldn't walk. Certain things is happening right now to those people. And just because it ain't happened now don't mean it won't happen later. So we have to understand, if you want to, not you, but if a person wants to make this system their God by putting all their trust into a system that don't care about them in the first place, right, you got to think about that. I'm not going to say something wrong with you, but something you got to think about that. So right now, we're going to go ahead and put Shelley Bowling on. We're going to go ahead and put Shelley Bowling on and get everybody to understand that we are already in that day, clear as day. And I'm so glad that every one of you came out, because like I said, this is where the love is. And I love all y'all. I love all, and I love the ones that can't make it. That's looking right here, I love you too. I love y'all, you know. And I'm going to tell you, one thing that makes me feel good is that my wife can see the love that y'all have for me. And I'm only saying that because I lived here, and it's not that I don't love you. I'm saying that personally right now. I gotta say, I'm saying it personally right now because me being an individual and she being my mate, not knowing nobody, whether it's in Mississippi or anywhere, she's an observer. She knows if people right or wrong. Well, no, she has an observing spirit. So everyone that she has seen I met, so it was always genuine here, and I love it. I love y'all, and thank you, Father, for everything you have shown me, brought me to, and the places I've been to help do what he told me that I will. Somebody try calling again. Resume. Okay, there you go. For everything that he has done, everything has brought me to and brought me through. So, want to play Shelley right now, baby?
Yeah, I did.
So right now, we're going to let Shelley Bowling share the information about indexing and what has happened up until this day and time. All right? And in case anybody would like, I got some alkaline water and tea. The water isn't very cold.
Hi, everyone.
Tea if anybody would like.
Welcome.
Today we're going to speak about what's going on in the world globally, how everything is tied together, how all of this comes together, and how it actually affects you. I'm Shelley Bowling with the Global Network. I'm also administrator of the Universal World Court and co-trustee of the Bathsheba and Esther Trust. It's my great pleasure today to speak to you, to bring you the information that has put this world back together again, and that is restoring back to you your sovereignty under our Creator, Father Yah, Allah. Now, for those of you that may not recognize Father Yah's name, it's spelled Y-H-W-H in all capital letters. However, he's known by a lot of different names, such as Allah, Buddha, and Sabuka, just to name a few. But we only have one Creator. Father Yah has brought together a group of people that have been working behind the scenes for years to restore this planet back to his children. Now, first of all, I'd like to tell you about the Chief Justice of the Universal World Court, Dr. Hindu I.L. Henderson, and what Father Yah had him do starting 30 plus years ago. In 1984, Dr. Henderson went to the Parish County Courthouse in Webster Parish, Louisiana. Now, the reason he did this is his family owned 200,000 acres of land in Webster Parish. The assets of that land had been stolen over the course of 100 years. All of the assets that had been taken out of the land had to be recorded as the mineral rights were pulled out. They had to be recorded in the courthouse. Some of those mineral rights were oil, gas, gravel, salt, timber. And when he went to the courthouse, added up all of the documentation, it came to $875 billion. He wanted to take it to a world court because those that stole the assets from his land, his family's land, were corporations. Those corporations were under the control of the Vatican, as every corporation actually is under the control of the Vatican. In addition to that, the global monetary system, which works hand in glove with them, is out of the City of London. The military-industrial complex of the United States is the enforcement arm for those two. So the three of them work in tandem, stealing and destroying this planet. Now, how does this all affect you? We're going to get to that in just a moment. As a sovereign principle, that's what we call mankind, as our sovereignty came from our Creator, Father Yah. Now, who is Father Yah? Some of you may not recognize his name. Some of you might recognize his name. It's spelled Y-H-W-H, and he is our Creator. Now, he's known by a lot of different names. Among just a few are Allah, Buddha, and Sabuka. Yet he's still just one. What Father Yah has done is he has brought together a group of people working behind the scenes to restore this planet back to his children. So let me tell you about Dr. Hindu I.L. Henderson. He is the ad hoc judge of the Universal World Court, and he's also known as the Son of Man. What Dr. Henderson did was, 30 plus years ago, go to the Webster Parish Courthouse in Louisiana. Recorded there were the documents of his family over the last 100 plus years. As these assets were stolen, all of the data that he pulled from the recording of those assets, those mineral rights taken out of the land, came to $875 billion. He wanted to take it to a world court. An individual could not take it to the court at that point in time, only a nation state. But because of his work as an advisor through the Lost Boys of Sudan, Dr. Henderson went to his friend, the King of Sudan, and he said that he would assist him in taking his case to the International Court of Justice, The Hague, Netherlands. So Doctor's case went to that court. They have a 15-judge panel, and in a ruling of 14-1, with the U.S. judge being in the majority, Dr. Henderson won his lawsuit against the Vatican, the City of London, and also the U.S. military industrial complex, known as the USA. Now, the United States has not been a government since 1871. It has been a corporation. Therefore, it has fallen under the control of the Vatican. The judgment had to go uncontested for 5 years, which it did. At the end of the 5-year period, it became a final judgment. The U.S. corporation found out about this judgment and in 2007 filed bankruptcy. Now, in his wisdom, Dr. Henderson put within the lawsuit that they could not file bankruptcy to get out of paying him what was owed he and his family. Therefore, the bankruptcy did not pertain to this judgment. So in 2007, they did file bankruptcy. One of the things that Dr. Henderson did on January the 10th, 2002, and you can find this on the PACER website or LexisNexis, where it is recorded, he opened the international courts up to individuals. Some individuals within nations have had corrupt leadership in their governments, and therefore the sovereign principles in those nations had no recourse for justice. Therefore, with these international courts being opened up, they now have access to be heard. So he opened those courts up, and in June 28th of 2010, he actually became the ad hoc Chief Justice of the Universal World Court, and all international courts now fall under that court. So let me bring you up to current time, things that you will have heard about pertaining to what actually transpired after the judgment came down. President Barack Obama bailed out the banks on the auto industries. When he did this, he stole a portfolio. That portfolio was Dr. Henderson's portfolio of the $875 billion. Now that portfolio has continued to earn interest as it has not been paid, and it is well over $900 trillion at this point in time. The nations wanting to file charges against this same trinity of corporations for war crimes, theft of assets as well, found out about Dr. Henderson's lawsuit. They basically signed on that lawsuit, since it was prior to the bankruptcy, as a class action. At that point in time, ultimately, 198 nations filed on to that lawsuit, which became the global class action suit. Now, because of the theft that President Obama did by stealing that portfolio, March 1st, 2013, Dr. Henderson and the Global Network sequestered the U.S. government and the assets of this planet. Now, in the United States, that became the master sequester, the sequester of the U.S. government was filed into law October the 3rd, 2013, under House Joint Resolution 85. Section 101(b)(2) made the sequester the budgetary authority for the United States. At that point in time, Dr. Henderson became the signatory for the budget of the United States. So now you're seeing how all these things are now tying together. We have the global nations coming together as one unit in one lawsuit. Dr. Henderson has taken his seat as the ad hoc Chief Justice. We have a global fiduciary working in tandem with him on the financial side of the house to make sure that everything is restored back to the nations. The nations have been given treaties for all 198 nations. Now you can go to our website, which is www.sovcpr.com, or we also have a .org for other nations that may not be able to access the .com. On that website, you will find a list of nations. One of the things you will not find on that list of nations is the United States of America, as it is not a nation and has not been since 1871. It is a corporation. The placeholder for the people, the indigenous people on that land mass, also known as the United States, is the Menefertanasi Native American Tribal Confederation, which is a combination or a confederation of all of the indigenous tribes from this land area. So now the nations have their treaties of peace and friendship. They are now working together to coordinate the removal of the criminal global elite that have been destroying this planet for centuries. They have controlled the media, the government,